You realize that the very first thing they're gonna hear, both in the Twitch stream and in the YouTube video, is gonna be your fat ass with the fucking chair. That's our introduction today. Yesterday it was a
Yeah,
silly comment about what was it, Star Rail or one of the gotcha games. Today it's gonna be your fat
Genshin
chair.
Impact.
That's
It's
fantastic.
it's trying to lose weight.
All right,
It doesn't want to be fat.
starting off, obvious disclaimer: both of us are absolute idiots. We're gonna get a lot of this wrong. We're looking through history and we're trying to learn. It's gonna be a great time. Don't be angry at us. We told you from the beginning that we were stupid.
I'm just here for funsies.
I'm
I'm not a
always
historian
here
or
for
anything. I
funsies.
just want to laugh.
Let's learn about the Stone of Destiny today.
Pray tell, what is the Stone of Destiny?
It's just a rock. It's nothing special. All it is a rock. And for some reason, like we talked about yesterday, mud people have a weird habit of imparting extreme amounts of significance to very mundane objects. So the Stone of Destiny has
I'm a
several.
bit of a rockologist myself.
Yeah, yeah. I know a little bit about stones and stacked stones. That's what I know.
I've seen pictures of the desert, of
Yeah.
course.
Hey, like we said yesterday, it's a religious experience, all them little stones stacked on top of each other. So, the origins of the Stone of Destiny go way, way, way back. But unfortunately, nobody can really agree on what they are. So, it says here that some people claim that it has biblical or mythical origins, and other people argue that it's purely a local Scottish tradition. The legendary origins are the stone is considered to be the Stone of Jacob, which is in the in the Bible. They say that the Stone of Destiny is the stone that Jacob laid his head on for a pillow when he had his famous dream of a ladder going all the way to heaven. Genesis 28:10 through 22. The stone was
That's a lot of
supposedly
Jesus.
taken, yeah, no doubt. The stone was supposedly taken from Canaan, modern day Israel, Palestine, and brought to Egypt by the Israelites. Later, it was said to have traveled through Spain and Ireland, where it became the Leofail, Stone of Fate, at the hill of Tara, used to crown the high kings of Ireland. So already, we've got a lot of different cultures
History.
mixed in with this. You've got the Christians, the Jews, the pagans all coming together to claim this rock, just this one rock. Around the 6th century AD, the stone was supposedly brought to Scotland by the Gaelic kings of Dalriada, I'm not sure how to say that, leading to its role in the Scottish coronations. From the 6th century onward, they talked about the stone as if it was absolutely necessary for one of their kings to be recognized. So if you didn't have your coronation standing there at the Stone of Destiny, then you weren't a legitimate king. Which
The Rock chooses all.
the Rock chooses everyone. It's the original Magic 8 Ball. The historical and geological evidence says that, which they obviously, they're going to claim that this is more, what would you call it, reliable than the mythological origins that we just went through. The Stone of Destiny is made of red sandstone, which matches the natural stone found in the Scone and Perthshire region of Scotland. So right there, we're already done talking about the story of Jacob and laying his head down on it like it's a pillow. Doesn't look like a very comfortable pillow, by the way. Look how tall that damn thing is. Could you imagine trying to lay on that to take a nap? I'm
What do
pretty
they call a
sure.
scone? Isn't like a food, like a pastry or whatever?
Well, it's also a region in Scotland.
Well, that's stupid as
Maybe
fuck.
the scones started. Hey, look, it's their culture, okay? They're very angry people. I'm not trying to like upset them by talking shit about their region names.
I'm gonna talk shit.
You do that. Let me know how that works out for you. Yeah, back to the angry Scottish noises.
They can't get me. I got out a long time ago.
If the stone had originated in Ireland or the Middle East, it would likely be made of a different type of rock, such as basalt or limestone. This suggests the stone was not brought from the Middle East or Ireland, but was instead a native Scottish artifact used by the Pictish and Gaelic kings in early medieval Scotland. So, dating all the way back to the 6th century, we've already got a full on list of disagreements about where the hell this thing came from, why it was so goddamn important, and who brought it. In early
Well, you see,
Scottish,
it's a rock. It helps build the foundation of
it's the
society.
foundation of my kingdom. I only
You can also
recognize
unga
the
bunga.
king coronated by the stone. Ooh,
King with
yeah.
stone. He who survives stone become king. Ooh.
I think until we get to more modern history, we're just going to continuously turn back to we need to return to monkey.
Oh, they tried. They're literally worshipping a fucking rock and killing each other over it. Not
That's
even killing
fair.
each other with the rock, but killing each other over the
It
rock,
would be
which is
really
kind of
hard to
backwards.
kill somebody with that rock. You'd have to bring their head down to it because there's no shot you're picking that up to dropping on somebody. That thing's way too big. I've tried to lift rocks like that. Ain't happening.
That's what they needed to learn on. Why do you think these term marks to fight for this? To lift it and kill people with it.
The stone was likely used by Pictish kings or Gaelic rulers of Dalriada. I'm never gonna be good
Dalai
at these
Lama.
names. I'm just gonna absolutely brutalize them every time we start. From 500 to 900 AD as a sacred inauguration stone. Scone Abbey, where the stone was later kept, which is the picture that just cycled a moment ago, was an important royal and religious center in Scotland. By the time of Kenneth MacAlpin, 9th century, the first king of a unified Scotland, the stone was firmly linked to the Scottish kingship. So from the 300-year period of 600 to 900 AD, they kind of talked about it like it was a really cool thing, but by 900 AD, they were pretty firmly decided after several generations had been involved in understanding and knowing what this stone was that this is the magic 8 ball of kingship, which doesn't make any goddamn sense.
The rock has more power than the queen herself.
The rock knows all. By the 12th century, the Stone of Destiny had become an essential symbol of the Scottish monarchy. It was placed at Scone Abbey. So from 9 to 12, you have it
Scone.
placed and located there at that little abbey, and it just stayed there. And everybody was happy that it just stayed. The new king was seated on the Stone of Destiny, signifying divine approval and the continuity of Scottish rule. So, most people were concerned with having a nice little throne that cushioned them. The Scots, for some reason, wanted their kings extremely uncomfortable. So they stuck him on this big damn rock and made him sit there.
You think drilling like fucking chains into it right there would be a bit blasphemic?
Well, I mean, nobody really agrees whether or not the stone is actually real anyway. So I think for the most part, they're just kind of drilling into a random rock that they found. Because the
The
whole
real rock
thing,
was lost in the war a long time ago, and
the
it's
real
just
rock
been.
was never found. The stone was considered to hold mystical powers, ensuring that only rightful rulers could be crowned upon it. In the English tales, we have Excalibur, right? Only the rightful king can pull the sword from the stone. In the Scottish tales, only the rightful king can sit his what's the word for it?
His ass. It's his ass on it.
No. The pattern of the kilts they wear.
Uh,
Flannel. It looks like
what?
flannel. Only the king could sit his flanneled ass upon that stone. The first written records confirming the stone's role in Scottish coronations appeared in the 13th century documents, including references by chroniclers like John of Fordun and Walter Bower. So it took, what is this, 700 years for them to be like, yeah, we should probably start writing down how important this thing is. The
We've killed people
Scottish
over this.
don't
Maybe we should write it
do
down in our fucking history books.
they don't do anything in half measures, man. Like they people died over this thing 100%. If you weren't deemed a worthy ruler, I'll bet 100% that they ended up putting people in the dirt over that. And it took them 700 years of doing that to finally be like, oh, by the way, we should mark that somewhere. This is really important. We should definitely write that down. There's alternative theories though, which is going to make everything else seem like a bit of a conspiracy. Some historians and researchers question whether Edward I of England, who took the stone in 1296, actually stole the real Stone of Destiny. Some accounts suggest that monks at Scone Abbey hid the real stone before Edward's army arrived and gave him a replica instead.
We found this
Not
in the
that
back
hard.
fucking yard.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking morons.
Have you ever seen pictures of Scotland? There's a lot of fucking rocks all over the goddamn place. It probably wasn't very difficult to find one that
It's,
looked similar.
it's magical chairs, but with fucking rocks. He who sits upon becomes king. Now, do you have to
If
stay on it to stay as king? What if you get like shoved off and someone sits on it? The game do they become king immediately and you get just executed because you're shoved off the fucking rock? How does it work exactly?
you think it's like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, where you just got to keep yourself balanced in the manual to maintain your kingship, and once you fall off, they lop your goddamn head off and sit the next person on the throne or the
Yeah.
stone.
I mean, look at that. It's really good to grind on a skateboard. It checks out.
You can do a 50-50 for quite a while. Those angles ain't hard to get around. If the fake stone theory is true, the original Stone of Destiny may still be lost somewhere in Scotland, which means everything that we talk about from this point onward could be absolute nonsense, and there could be an original mystical Stone of Destiny just big chillin' somewhere in Scotland. And look, you see right there in that image that's up right now, it literally says that the stone there is a replica. If that stone's a replica, how many replicas have there been? How which one of these rocks is the magic rock? Because nobody seems to agree. Not the person who took it, not the people who took it later. They can't even agree how it got there originally, claiming that it was involved in a biblical story. And that doesn't even make any sense because the rock that it's made out of doesn't come from the area that it says it does in the fucking Bible. It just, all of this is a complete wish-wash of information. And I have a lot of what are considered verified sources here with me now.
You think someone would have engraved it so you know if it's the right one or not?
Yeah, but if it's a magic stone, do you want to
Oh,
engrave it
by
and
Jesus,
deface it?
please return to fucking.
Oh my
Please return to Jesus if found.
God says the rightful king will sit upon this stone. Please don't lose it.
It's the first edition signed by Jesus himself.
Got him. Got him. And I love, look at that image there, dude. They just stick it underneath chairs because I guess that's a way that you can like lawyer the system. Technically, you're sitting on the stone, even though I'll bet my life that there's a cushion right there above it.
You know what the
Oh,
funny part
nope,
is? Back
that
in
one's
these
actually
days,
just got wood.
bro,
So
back in these
slightly more
days,
comfy.
people would heat up stones by the fire and they would put them underneath beds to keep warm during winters and cold times. It makes me wonder if they had set this in the fire, just leave it there for a couple hours, and they put it underneath the chair to make it keep warm while the king sits.
To keep it, what? Look how big that goddamn thing is. Are you trying to cook the king?
Well, he's got to keep warm. He's, it's wide. Obviously, he has a wide ass. It's a
Yeah,
lot
the
of ass
size
to
of
keep
that
warm.
chair. I mean, I've got a big ass myself, and I think I could probably not fill that chair there. I'd be sitting pretty comfy. Well, not comfy. I mean, craftsmen back in that era weren't exactly fantastic. That thing does not look super duper. I love that too because like this is supposed to be the throne for the king, right? Like the mystically set king who's been okayed by the stone of magic. And that chair looks just absolutely horrific. Where are you going to put your arms? You can't hardly
In
lean
your
back in
lap to
that
keep
thing.
them warm from
In
the
my
heat
lap.
stone.
I just keep them in my lap, dry washing them as I plot against my enemies.
I mean, for real though, they gotta heat it up to heat their king. Why else would it be underneath the seat? It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Because the king has to
chair,
sit on it.
below the chair.
This is the equivalent of cheating in Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like they're using hacks so that they can maintain their grind longer. That's all that is. They didn't want to sit on the stone itself because they kept falling off, I guess. So instead, they put the chair up around it so that they could, keep going for a little while longer.
They're breaking the rules, but who am I to judge a fucking king?
Well, I mean, hindsight's 2020, so we're exactly the right people to judge these ridiculous dirt people kings.
Guys, it's okay. He's fucking dead.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Come and stop me? Go ahead, try. Where
I have a
are
rock. Don't worry. I can defend myself.
Is this why they still have that sport where they fling giant logs as far as they can for the Highland Games? They're preparing for the day they may need to lift and drop the Stone of Destiny on a motherfucker. The Stone of
Well, it needs
Destiny.
loopholes.
Yeah, everybody needs loopholes, and this is one of the origin stories for how we get there.
Except for when people start asking questions, you can't just kill everyone who asks a question. I mean, they tried it, but obviously it didn't work. 700 years of fucking war.
I don't know what you mean, man. The Inquisition did a pretty good job of it. We don't question much before those ages anymore. We just go with the flow because we're afraid that we're going to wake the sleeping dragon and start it all over again.
Was it Charlemagne before that, though?
Sure,
There's a lot
yeah,
of
definitely.
shenanigans.
But I think we all
Yeah.
broadly understand that it's pretty dope that the Catholic Church now uses a little VTuber avatar instead of
Oh
thumb
my
presses and
god!
fucking
I forgot about
stretching.
that shit.
Oh, brother, we got to go
My
through that at some
weaves.
point. We'll
My
talk
weaves
about
they
the
have
church.
bestowed upon us a goddess. Her raincoat keeps her dry in the rain, the pouring tears of sinners.
The flood cometh.
The flood cometh. Once again, we come back to God being a water
Dude, God's
elemental
a
or
water
water
mage.
or
I'm
some
telling
bullshit.
you, God is a water mage. Which is funny because, historically he comes from a region that's very deserted. So, maybe it was fantastical from the start.
It would make absolute fucking sense because people, in the desert would wish for water. My eyes are open.
I live
Oh
in
my
the Great
god.
Plains and I wish for water. I get it. Makes
War god
sense.
of water.
War God of water. He'll kill all your friends, but he'll be moist about it.
It's like Tiamat is the god of water or some shit.
What? No. Don't drag me into D&D lore right now.
No, I'm not talking about D&D. I'm talking about Sumerian. Tiamat's Sumerian.
Oh. Well, maybe you'll
We gotta
have to
some
talk about
Sumerian
that
shit
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Crazy shit.
Back to the wars. So, Edward the First theft of the stone, one of the first major conflicts, again, nearly 800 years after the suggested date for when they actually, acquired the stone and started giving it significance. In 1296, King Edward I of England invaded Scotland, marking the beginning of the War of Scottish Independence from 1296 to 1357, which, like we talked about yesterday with the Saxons and people dying incredibly early ages at this point, that is a wildly long time. Oh, he pulled up an actual image of Edward I. Let's go. Look at that fella. Bro, I can't tell which one of us he's looking at from this perspective.
Thanks, Jin. That was a good image to put up.
Yeah, well done, Jamie. We didn't even have to tell him to pull it up. Edward sought to assert English dominance over Scotland by removing symbols of the Scottish monarchy and their independence, which apparently, as we can all tell at this point, includes this one fucking rock that was chilling in a Scone Abbey.
This guy looks like he got beat with the fucking rock.
Well, I mean, maybe that's why he took the fucking rock. I'd be a little upset about it too.
This will never happen again.
Never again.
At least you keep an eye behind him. Jesus fucking Christ.
Could you imagine being a king? It says here that he invaded Scotland, which tells me that the king actually went to Scotland. Could you imagine being a king? And at this point in time, we're talking about sailboats. Like, they had to travel long periods of time to go from place to place. Weeks, months in some cases. So that means that they spent all that time traveling, and he was just probably furious about that from the beginning. And then he's like, wait, what do these fucking idiot peasants think is the important thing here? A rock?
Rock?
You mean to tell me a rock is the most important thing that they have for us? Take it. I don't give a shit. Take it. I want it to go home with me. And then he had his boys loaded up. Bro, I bet you anything Edward the First struck a pose like that too. He was the rock on the rock.
The Chad Rock on the Rock.
Let's
There's
go.
also a Chad Rock.
And
People
then
killed over it.
and this isn't a little thing either, and they didn't have, cranes at this point. So they're just straight muscling this big ass rock onto one of their ships and then traveling again back home weeks so that they can take it and keep it in their land just to deprive your enemy of a rock. That's some petty shit. I aspire to that level of pettiness. That's incredible. I want to be like Edward someday. I just want to be rich enough so that they start calling me uncouth instead of rude. That'd be fantastic. Let's get with the big words.
Degen Uncouth.
DJ uncouth demi. After defeating the Scots at the Battle of Dunbar in 1296, Edward's forces marched into Scotland and sacked Scone Abbey, where either on one hand they gave him a fake stone, or on the other hand he took the real stone. Nobody will ever know because writing and taking things down at this point was just like a hidden technology. It was
Literally
just
got fucking trolled with a rock.
literally, yeah. Dude, that would be the funniest thing if that's the one that came out to be true and they just had it secreted underneath like some floorboards for hundreds and hundreds of years and the rest of this information was all just nonsense while they sat back and chuckled about it. I
It's all
think
just
that's
one
the real
joke. It's
victory.
still a fucking joke. They look back and like, yeah. Can you imagine that king taking the fake rock? We got the real one, but we're never gonna tell him. And
Chilling
the
with
world
your monk
continues to
bros and
believe.
you just drink your homebrewed beer at this point and talk to each other about it, about what an idiot that fool was despite killing a ton of your friends.
Man, that's a pretty good joke we pull on the king, right? Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
glad all of our buddies fucking died.
He wiped out several clans, but you know what? Fuck that guy. I've still got the rock.
Hey, Jamie, can I get a rock on the rock again?
There we are. Thank you, Miguel. Appreciate your hard work.
Thanks, MacGyver. I appreciate it.
Okay. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. The reaction and the resistance. The Scots, led by figures like William Wallace, who, until I saw this mentioned right here, that man there, glorious mane, absolute Chad with his flowing mullet. And later,
What a
Robert the
beautiful
Bruce
man.
continued to resist English rule, despite victories such as the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314. I hate these names. I hate these names so much. Why was English so stupid back then? Or I suppose this would be Gaelic. Why? I'm glad nobody speaks Gaelic anymore.
They sound
Scotland,
happy, though.
what?
They sound happy, though.
They sound like they have chest congestion. I don't know what you mean by happy.
Gaelic.
Oh, is that Robert the Bruce? Hell yeah, dude. Look at that guy.
More like he drinking some brews. God damn.
Bro, what's up with all these old images being all cross-eyed like that? Was that just a normal thing?
Well, how else did you get? How else do you think they got so many soldiers ready for war? A lot of inbreeding, my friend.
Inbreeding and head trauma, that seems like the most likely.
They're fighting over a rock. Surely someone got hit over the head with a rock at some point. It's a bit of karmic justice.
So despite the win, Scotland was unable to reclaim the stone, which is probably because it was in another goddamn nation. What? I don't even understand how that is a talking point here on this one. This source is silly. The Treaty of Edinburgh and Northampton in 1328 officially recognized Scotland's independence, but did not return the stone. What a dick move, dude. You wait a minute, hold on. I need to simmer with that one for a second there. After all the bloodshed over the stone in Scotland for several hundred years and a war that raged from 1296 all the way to
Generations
1328, whole family lines ended, just straight up clipped at the root. And they finally recognized Scotland's independence. And they snootily are like, no, we're not going to give you the stone. What the fuck, dude?
Jesus Christ.
That is so ridiculous. Damn it, dude. My brain hurts just thinking about that. I wish I was as petty as people in history because, good
I
lord.
wish my brain was as smooth as a rock right now.
Somebody's brain was as smooth as a rock, hopefully after they dropped it on him, because this is incredible. So, let's fast forward. After King Edward steals the stone, the Scottish attempt to reclaim it. Over the centuries, various Scottish rulers and rebels attempted to retrieve the stone, but
Jesus Christ, just leave it alone.
it remained in Westminster. Continuously throughout history, they've attempted to do little heists to get it back, including on Christmas Day in 1950, where 4 Scottish students broke into Westminster Abbey and stole the stone. Now, these are Scots we're talking about here, so we can only assume that they were chilling in England at the time, in a bar, drunk as fuck, and they said to each other, "I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna get it back. We're gonna get it back. We're gonna
My
get
wife,
the
your
stone."
wife, our kids might die in the process again, but let's go, boys.
No, dude, it's students. They don't have wives and kids at this point. We're talking about like university students. These are young guys, probably like late teens, early 20s. And they thought to themselves, hundreds of years have been spent, wars have been fought, but we can get the stone back. So,
What's another war?
yeah. It's just more mistakes made at this point. So on Christmas Day, they break into Westminster Abbey and they steal the stone successfully. But unfortunately, again, we're talking about Scots, so they're likely drunk and probably a bunch of idiots. So they drop it and they break it in half while they're removing it.
What the fuck?
This
I didn't know
magical
about that.
stone from the 600 AD period all the way to current 1950 period has remained whole until these 4 guys decide to take it back for their nation and snap it in half. And I can only assume that at no point in time did some magical dust fly out of it or some light or like an energy escape it, because it was just a goddamn stone the whole time, and it might not have even been the real one, because the real one might still be in Scotland chilling in the Scone Abbey.
My God, we finally broke one of the Horcruxes. Finally, they've accomplished the task. Now the king and queen can die.
But just like Voldemort, it wasn't a real Horcrux. It was just a copy of the diadem.
All over again. Finally, I found the inspiration for Harry Potter.
After months of hiding the fact that they broke the stone, they left it in Arbroath Abbey in Scotland. First of all, again, 4 students.
Horcrux? Oh my God.
The words are so closely aligned. How the hell did these 4 students get this big ass rock even cut in half onto at 1950s? So this likely was boat travel again, because not a whole lot of plane travel is happening at this point, and they're students, so they're probably oh boy, I'll have to pull that up at some other time, but there's no like Airbuses going. This is prop plane time.
These people have planes, they're still fighting over a motherfucking rock.
Yeah, right.
That pisses me off.
Dude, 1950s, we're post World War II, and they're still talking
They're
about
not
how
monkeys
important
anymore.
this
Come the
goddamn
fuck
rock
on.
is. Oh, dude,
We're not
imagine.
wondering why it rains in the fucking sky anymore. We're not dragging our hands through the fucking sand. We're literally flying planes.
Not just flying planes, we're talking about 1950s, so they're living in a world where America has already dropped the sun on another nation twice, and they're still thinking about this fucking rock. Oh,
It pisses me off.
it pisses me off too, dude. This is why I was so frustrated when we were talking about the goddamn Saxons yesterday.
Well, they still lived in the dirt. That made a bit more sense.
Hey,
They were desperate. But these people, they could read a magazine. They could look at a titty bag. They got wives. They got fucking planes. They got boats. They got trains.
you know
But
what?
they still want the goddamn rock.
Say what you will about the Scots, they know how to hold a grudge. And honestly, it's kind of impressive because they do this shit for centuries on centuries, and it is insane. I guess they're not quite as bad as the Irish because they aren't like car bombing people, but there is another instance in Scottish history where like they had a whole miniature war on their streets about ice cream trucks, and that was absolutely crazy. The Scots just out of their fucking minds. The
I
British,
love them.
you know what? They're like the archetype. They're the original archetype for Florida man. Just straight up, they're the Florida man of the European nations. It's not.
At least they're dedicated to the cause. They never let the rock go.
It's a
They never
damn
sit with
shame
their
that they're
hands. I
dedicated to
love
that
it.
cause. Imagine what they could do. They had
I respect the passion.
the Scots have like two speeds, right? One speed, you have the Scottish Enlightenment, which I believe is in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then the other speed is absolute religious zealotry. They only do one of those two things, and they only did that first one once. You only talk about the Scottish Enlightenment. You don't talk about the Scottish Enlightenments. So one time they broke away from just brutal savagery, and they were like, thinking about it, maybe we all are actually equals, and maybe things are bigger than we actually think they are. And then the rest of the
Those
time they're autistically screeching and murdering each other over a cow that was stolen 300 years ago, back before anybody alive or anybody whose grandparents were alive at the time even remember who the fuck did it.
Did you say a cow or stone?
A cat, well, a stone, obviously here, but yeah, no, like they grudge over the silliest things.
Well, it's the cow. Maybe they're like warship like they are in India.
No, 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 no. See, that would make a little bit more sense. At least if they deified the cows, it would be like, oh, they stole your god. Gotcha, gotcha. No, no, they just like that cow. That'd be like
When did
if
they
I
create
just walked over to your house and I stole your PC.
So when did they create whiskey? Is that what calmed them down?
Have you ever met anybody who was calmed down by including whiskey?
Well, the Scotsmen are like reverse humans, so maybe, maybe it pacified them. Maybe that's why they split the rock, and they're like, okay, we can both have a little piece of the rock, and they spread the divinity.
Yeah, through vomiting all over their gutters and pissing in the streets, definitely for sure. Brawling.
It's dedication, and I can respect it.
I've talked to a couple of Scottish people. Like, they're one of the few places where if you get drunk and you get into like a drunken brawl, it's pretty much cool. Like, not a whole lot happens. Meanwhile, if you do that over here, you're getting hit with like assault, battery, all kinds of different charges, drunken disorderly, and they're going to lock you up for a while. And it's going to be a real problem for you in the future because now you have violent charges. Meanwhile, over there, the guy I was talking to, he was like, yeah, I've gotten in a ton of drunken brawls with other people, and either the cops look away or they'll just tank you to the drunk tank for a little while, let you cool off, and then ship you home. Doesn't really matter. You
Sounds
know
like
what?
paradise for
Honestly, that
people who
does sound
enjoy
a bit
drink.
like paradise. I think you're right.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like paradise. Yeah.
Fuck, maybe we're doing it wrong. Huh? Huh?
When you return a monkey,
We
they
need
had it
to
right the whole
return to
time.
monkey. How do we always wrap back around to return to monkey? That is unfortunate.
Planes were a fucking mistake. So were trains and boats and automobiles.
The
It was a
nuke's
simpler
pretty
time,
cool
an
though.
easier time.
I like that we can just unleash the sun on someone. That's pretty neat, pretty tight. I mean, the Japanese were fucking around. They had to find out in a big way. Although, did you? Okay,
Jesus
aside, uh,
Christ.
no, no, never mind. All right, I'll hold on to that one because there's like interesting facts about the Pacific War that we should talk about at some point. We'll get into modern
Right.
history. So
I
from
prefer older history. It's a lot easier
600,
to relate to.
how is this easier to relate to? Do you have a pebble that you keep in your pocket that you just rub constantly for good luck? Because the Stone of Destiny is basically a whole nation's pebble that they keep in their pocket. They
I
put
had
their
fancied
king on it
myself a
for
couple
good luck.
rocks. I have a basket full of rocks, yeah.
All you're doing right now is like solidifying my opinion that you are actually retarded, and thank you. It's a little inspiring. It makes me feel better
It's
about
why I'm
myself.
here. It's why I'm here. It's why we get along so well, fellow retard.
Wow, hurtful.
I meant it as a compliment.
Just
I thought
because
that's what
it's
you meant as a
true
compliment
doesn't
too.
mean you have to say it.
You gotta embrace it. You gotta love yourself a little bit, man.
Do I? Do I really though? I don't
I
have
mean,
a
you'd probably
stone.
be better for it.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go out into my yard and I'm gonna dig
I
out a
can,
big ass rock and put it underneath my gaming chair.
I can give you one of my stones.
That'll make
I'm a
me feel
generous
better.
person.
Yeah, but if you give me one of your stones, then I have to worry about you breaking into my goddamn house, stealing it back from me, and accidentally snapping it in half while you're drunk one night, and
We can
hiding it
both
for
have a
months
part
in
of the
some separate
history.
location.
If you keep it and I break it, do I kill a part of your soul?
No, but if I keep it and you break it, then we won't talk about it or write it down for several decades.
Only when we're drunk and recalling it will it be written down in very fucked up details.
Screaming at each other about the geode that once was. Okay, back to it. Oh, damn it. I scrolled up accidentally and I lost my place. Oh, I gotta find it again. The seizure of the stone. I'd be seizing too if my people were this stupid.
I'm having a seizure just recalling this.
I'm upset right now. So, not only do these four drunk idiots go in there, steal the stone, snap it in half, hide it for several months, finally get it back to Scotland where it's repaired, quote unquote. Not quite sure how you super glue a big ass rock together and whether it's even worth doing, because at that point, like, what don't you just turn it into like the king's throne and the queen's throne? But sexism aside, never mind.
Bro, the king and the queen could have had a piece. Why are they so greedy?
One would hope that
Finally, it's
your
been
king and
equalized.
queen have a piece of each other on the regular, and you have several heirs. Otherwise, you have to deal with wars of lineage, which they've already got enough wars on their plate. I don't think they need to add that to the pot.
I thought you said horrors of lineage. What?
I mean, bastard children are still children, so technically.
50% is still 100%.
50%
Just like how
of my
50% of the
seed is
rock
still
is still
100%
100% of the
of
rock.
my right. So,
If 50% of the rock is still part of the Rock of Destiny, then surely you think it being shattered like the fucking ring from Lord of the Rings, it would no longer
that's
be
what
the
I
Rock
was
of
just
Destiny.
thinking was Lord of the Rings too. Give
That
it
was
off to
there,
several
Gandalf.
factions, and then occasionally you bring them together like the Fellowship, so they can touch the pieces into a whole.
Godless Tolkien.
Oh my god, that's so stupid. So, in response to the stone being stolen away from Westminster, the British authorities launched a nationwide manhunt, putting heavy pressure on the Scottish public to return it. They went straight to the public. They didn't even go straight to the government and then keep it secret there. They straight up told the Scottish citizens, hey, bring us back that big goddamn rock that you love so much, despite the fact that it means little to nothing to us because we've already granted you your independence, quote unquote, kind of, because honestly, that's an argument that they can have that doesn't have nothing to do with us. In April 1951, the students left the repaired stone in the Arbroath Abbey, I hate that name, a site historically linked to Scottish independence, the Declaration of Arbroath in 1320. The British government recovered the stone and returned it to Westminster Abbey. So they pressured the citizens and then went over to Scotland and stole that motherfucker back in 1951. Just to add insult. Imagine being such a dick that you have to steal a rock not once but twice from the only people who fucking care.
You mean thrice, because there's two parts now.
Well, no, at
You
that
gotta
point
steal
it was
twice.
repaired, heavy quotes, because
Oh.
they put like a ton of glue or something in
Oh,
between it to
yeah.
put it back in. The Fellowship formed for a moment, and then they were
The
disappointed when they
Fellowship
had
of the
nothing.
Rock.
The Fellowship of the Stone. But on the bright side, the students who stole the stone were never prosecuted, as the government feared it would increase Scottish nationalist sentiments. So I guess there's some little benefits there. Although I'm having a real fucking hard time finding them right now. Because this whole thing's over a rock that nobody's sure whether or not it's the real rock. This just seems dumber and dumber the more we dive into it, honestly.
It's literally a fucking rock, and these people are fighting over it. They
It's
glued a rock together.
They glued a rock together that may or may not be the real rock.
I think it was better when it was in two parts. At least both sides could have been happy at the same time.
Whew. I gotta breathe because this is so dumb.
A rock on a rock.
A rock on 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 a rock. Scottish history is silly.
It's symbolical because there was once two rocks.
Now, keep in mind that stealing the stone back from the Scottish people happened in 1951. Can you guess how long it took for the Scots to take it back again?
3 years.
Hilariously disappointing. No, it was 1996 when the Scots finally got the rock back.
It was like
45
45 years.
years
Oh my
until
God,
they finally got it back again. People lived and died in the time it took for them to return the rock to Scotland after it was taken back from them the second time. Which, if it wasn't the real stone the first time, how do we know that it was the real stone the second time? Just wondering, because if a big fucking rock like that is snapped in half, you telling me that surely this is the real rock, despite the fact that that rock that we're looking at right here on screen right now doesn't look like it's been snapped in half, makes me
I was about to say
question
that.
things.
Where's the line?
Where's the line? It should have been drawn back in the 600s. They should have been like, this is stupid. We're not doing this. The stone doesn't mean anything. But silly, silly mud people. We got the stick of the cosmos and the rock of destiny.
Bro, I think someone might actually be wrong. I think someone might have fucked up.
Oh, now you think that? After all of this, you've just heard about 1,300 years of history revolving around a rock, and now all of a sudden it's not right?
Violence, yes.
We're talking about it
years
in
of violence.
the year of our Lord, 2025.
Yeah, I think somebody fucked up a little bit.
Absolute insanity.
Probably a couple tens of thousands of people. Literally time for a rock.
In that amount of time, it has to be millions. I can't believe it's just tens of thousands. This is the hysteria of the masses. And they say that God is the opiate of the people. Turns out it was a rock. It was a rock all along.
What is the rock made of? But particles of opium. Surely someone did a line off that at some point. I mean, you're not entirely incorrect.
I can only hope. That would be like my favorite part of the history, but unfortunately nobody's talking about that in these here annals that I'm reading. So by the 1990s, calls for the stone's return grew stronger, particularly as the discussions about Scottish devolution increased. What does that mean, devolution? I'll have to look into that specifically. In 1996, British Prime Minister John Major announced the official return of the Stone of Destiny to Scotland. So, in 45 years, they probably just got bored of having it at that point. Nobody gave a fuck anymore. Wait, except that's not true, because there is actually an instance that happens here in just a moment. Because in 1996, when it was returned to the Scots, that's not the end of this. We're not done telling the story yet.
Jesus, what? We're at 1,300 years. How much
1,300
bullshit
years.
can they create?
Well, there's
Just
not that
let it
many
go.
years between 96
Bro,
and today.
fucking relax.
Bro,
relax.
the
Let it
Scots don't
fucking
let
go.
fucking anything go. The only thing they do is hold grudges. They hold
It doesn't
grudges
even have hands.
and they
How
make
can it hold
scotch.
anything? This is
That's
dumb as
all
fuck.
they do.
This is some of the dumbest shit I've heard in my life.
I told you. That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. On November 15th, 1996, the stone was removed from Westminster Abbey and transported to the Edinburgh Castle. A formal ceremony was held on St. Andrew's Day, November 30th, 1996, to mark its return, which is just salt in the wound. We're going to put your magic stone down. We're going to do it on your holiday. Yeah. I have to hope that there was some British official just gooning to the thought of rubbing this in.
Finally.
The rock returneth. However, it's agreed that the stone would be temporarily sent back to Westminster Abbey for future coronations of the British monarchs. That's the kicker. So
Please tell me someone stole it again.
I don't believe anybody stole it after that.
The
But
circle has no end. It just keeps going around forever. It's only
the
a matter of time until we cycle back around to someone stealing it and get another war raging.
the insults never end. They held on to it for all of those years, from 1296 all the way to 1996, which hilariously convenient that it's a 96 on both ends. 700 years. The British government dangled it in front of him like, nah, 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 we've got your stone. And then they finally give it back. And then they tell him, but on the caveat that you have to let us take it away from you every now and then because our king is better than your king and we want our king to sit on the special rock now.
Well, they have parental rights.
I'm pretty sure the Scots would heavily disagree with you.
It's okay. They can fight over it. No, don't fight over it. Shit.
They have.
Not again.
Oh, god damn it. There's a literal custody battle over a fucking rock for
For real, for real.
700 years. And they wonder why we're not on Mars yet.
We're still fighting over rocks.
All right, now
Imagine what's gonna happen in another 700 years. Is
I don't
it gonna
want to.
come full circle? Are we
After
gonna fight
thinking
again?
about all
Are
this,
there other nations involved with fighting over the fucking rock? Is it gonna be more than just the fucking Scots?
my head hurts. My head hurts right now. I literally have a headache developing from how stupid this story actually is. I'm currently contemplating looking over at the wall next to my desk, driving my head through this Latin plaster ancient house and looking down to see if I can find the secrets of peace and quiet inside of it. This is absolute
The
insanity.
sheetrock.
And we're not done
Come
yet.
with the rock as well.
We're not done yet. Modern
What the
day
fuck?
controversies and conflicts. Independence debates. The stone remains a potent symbol of the Scottish nationalism. Many Scots want it to stay permanently in Scotland, while others see its role in British coronations as a compromise, which is a bitch move.
They're still arguing over it. It's a fucking Jesus fucking Christ.
Bro, after 700 years, if I'm still caring about a rock after it's been taken away from me for 700 years and somebody suggests to me that we make a compromise, I'll kill him. I'll just kill him. That person's
With a rock.
bloodline needs to end. They're bitch made. They shouldn't have any kids. We can't let that continue. They're going to ruin future generations.
I want you to imagine this for a minute, okay? You raise your kids and you teach them throughout their entire lives, brainwashing them. The rock is God, the rock is life, the rock is God, the rock is life, forever and ever, and they die on their fucking deathbed, telling their children about how they need to fight for their fucking rock and bring it back to fucking Scotland for generations.
I don't need to be
Repeatedly,
taught
over
like
and
that.
over and over.
I grew up
Millions
in the
of
church.
fucking people repeating the same fucking thing. And then we have today people fighting over the fucking rock. And the custom still continues. They watch fucking TV, you know, they're watching fucking Family Matters, whatever. They sit down for a minute, they turn the TV off. Now remember, honey, don't forget about the fucking rock and to die for it.
I don't need to wonder about what it's like to be indoctrinated. I spent my youth in the church. I haven't been to a church service in about a decade, but I could right now on call recite to you the names of the Bible verse or Bible chapters, and I could recite verse and quotes to you directly. Like indoctrination's real as fuck, boy. That shit sticks around.
Yeah, it's been going on for forever in Scotland. We need to send some help to Scotland and free
Almost
them a little
literally
bit.
forever in Scotland. Oh god damn it. Again with the headache. My blood is actually boiling about this. Our history as the United States of America barely goes back 250 years. We are talking about a rock that they've been arguing about the importance and location of since 600 AD.
What better time than to get involved with the rock? A new challenger has approached. What if I want the
I'm
rock?
going to have a stroke.
What if I want to sit on
Don't
the
say
rock?
that. Don't say that. There's no reason for the United States to get involved in this. Let's just stay away from it. We got plenty of rocks. We got the red rocks. We got the Rockies. We got all kinds of rocks. We don't need their rock.
But
We
it'd
got
be
plenty
funny.
of rocks. No, thank you.
I think it'd be funny if we had that rock though.
No.
I want that
We're
rock.
already talking about Greenland and the Panama Canal and all that. If Trump says anything about the Stone of Destiny, I'm starting a coup. That I swear to God will radicalize
He means
me.
in Minecraft. Shut the fuck up.
I'll start flipping lids, dude. I'm gonna trip. Okay, Scottish independence movements, including the 2014 referendum, have reignited debates over the stone status.
Jesus fucking Christ.
All the way up to 2 years ago, in 2023, The stone was taken from Scotland back to England for the coronation of King Charles III. In May of 2023, the stone was temporarily sent back to Westminster Abbey for the coronation of King Charles. Some Scottish nationalists protested its removal, arguing that it should not leave Scotland. Obviously. Every time it's left, it hasn't come back for long periods of time. Why the fuck would you let him take it again?
Just let him take it. I need some
After
more
the
laughs in my
coronation,
life.
though, the stone was returned to Edinburgh Castle, where it remains today. If they sent back the real stone, which may not be the real stone, which may not be the real stone. Layers on layers, wheels within wheels. I'm starting to gain a new appreciation for all the machinations within the Dune universe. I'm going to have to reread those books again.
They created a new circle with a different stone. The loop continues forever and ever.
God damn it, that's so dumb.
There are only a few things that are sure in life: death, taxes, and the rock. Starting another goddamn war.
I hate this so much. And this is it's not like with the end of it being used for the coronation of King Charles, we're talking about this story being over. It may be 2025 now, but there's plenty of potential for them to go ahead and take that stone again at any point in time. Maybe at some point nationalism down in Britain's down, so they decide to go ahead and invade Scotland and take that motherfucker back just for old time's sake. They already made a habit of it. It wouldn't surprise me in the least.
I hope they do it again.
I hope they do it again.
Well, it's customary. Passed down through the family line for generations.
Through which family line? Through all these conflicts, several of the family lines have been ended.
Hanging you by a string.
The winners aren't the ones who write the histories. The winners are the ones who are just still around. Oh,
fucking Jesus Christ!
That was nearly an hour of me just reading through it. I think I
So,
just
what's your
felt
opinion?
my
How do you
brain
think about
cells
The
die.
Rock and the endless war and untold deaths and pain and suffering caused by the fucking Rock?
I don't know what to think anymore, honestly. I'm just disappointed that it lasted for so fucking long. Okay,
I
so
think some people need to go outside and touch some grass, or maybe
I,
a rock.
I would hate for them to touch grass because then they might start fighting over that. I don't want them to touch rocks. We need to keep the Scottish people far, far away from rocks from here on out, because clearly it's not good for anybody, including themselves. That's a terrifying prospect. It's a good thing we're starting to, like, urbanize everything. We'll put them in concrete jungles and tell them straight up that we poured those stones. They're not special.
We liquidated the Rock of Destiny,
Yeah.
and you all can live in the Rock of Destiny now. Somewhere out there is 0.001% of the Rock of Destiny. Do you feel special now? Do you feel like waging a war over a fucking rock now?
We ground the Rock of Destiny up into small bits, and we're turning it into concrete so that we can pour a basketball fucking court.
The Court of Destiny.
The Court of Destiny. Get LeBron James there, stat. All right, we're winding down. Does anybody from the chat have any questions? Oh, I need to breathe. Dude, I have such a raging headache right now. I can't believe that this is real. Bro, this is such a perfect case of sometimes history is stranger than fiction. If you showed me a movie about a 700-year-old war over a rock, I'd be like, bro, Hollywood's out of ideas. This is trash.
The next Indiana Jones, I got a new movie idea. The Golden Compass of Destiny, no, the Rock of Destiny, friend.
Bro, if I saw that, I'd be like, man, maybe we should go back to making remakes. These writers don't know what they're doing.
No, I'd be all for it. I could see that shit in theaters.
I'm gonna need you to live action some more Disney movies. This ain't it, Chief.
Snow White and the Rock of Destiny.
Okay. Hoarder of Secrets says, if the stone was repaired, could they not tell? Like, see if there was a crack to verify it's the real one. You know, logically, that makes sense. But I don't know if you've been paying attention. There's not a lot of fucking logic going on in any of this situation, like at
Look at
all.
the image.
The entire thing
Where's the
is devoid
line?
of logic. Yeah, that's a colorized photo, so that's post it being broken in half. Do
They
you
probably
see a
wouldn't have.
seam? I don't see a
They
seam.
probably wouldn't be able to. They probably wouldn't be able to color the concrete either because they wouldn't have dyes at the time. This is like 1940, right?
You know,
They wouldn't have dye for the fucking whatever sealant they were using to recombine them. So it'd be like a long white line or a gray line. It would be very visible. I don't see shit, bro.
you
I
ever
think somebody fucked up.
you ever do okay, I know what your attention span's like, so I know that the answer to this is probably a no. You ever do puzzles?
Do I ever do what?
Puzzles.
No, I don't have the fucking patience for that.
Okay, I'm autistic as shit. And I used to really enjoy puzzles, and then I would glue them together,
I'm
and I
sorry.
would put them. Shut up! Don't talk to me like that. And I would put them on my walls like they were posters, right? Every now and
I
then,
do that too.
every now and then, I would drop a puzzle, and I would have to pick all the pieces up, and I'd have to put it together. You know what never once happened when I dropped a puzzle and had to pick all the pieces up?
The Scotsman coming in, stealing it, and you had to fight to the death for it.
No, never once did I ever find all of the pieces. Always at least a piece or two would go missing. So pray tell, how the fuck did they drop this giant stone and probably lose some chunks? And you can't even tell in that picture. I'm almost positive that there's no way that's the actual Stone of Destiny. And I've just worked myself up to that conclusion through this little story. And now I'm
Maybe
upset
it's like
again.
those. Maybe it's like those brass statues that people fondle. You know, they eventually rub away parts of it, or they polish it. Maybe that's what we're having right here. People are constantly polishing the stone with their hands by praising their hands against it to hopefully regain some luck that was lost to it. You know, and they're polishing
I've been in
down the fucking
caves. I know
cracks of
what
their hands.
polished stones look like when you've touched them for several hundred years. That doesn't look
Well, it's not. We're not
polished.
talking about hundreds of years. We're talking about 1,300 motherfucking years. 1,300 years of people fondling this fucking rock.
No, it's 1,425 years, which
Oh,
hurts more now that
well,
I've said
there
it
you
out
go.
loud.
How did it get broken? I missed the part.
How did it get broken? Oh, it was in the 1950s, four Scottish students got drunk and decided that they were going to steal it back for their nation because they were real Chad patriots. And while they were pulling it out of Westminster Abbey, which, if it matters this much, why wasn't there an actual guard there? So clearly nobody actually cared about it. They dropped it. They dropped the Stone of Destiny, the thing that their people have been worshiping as an important artifact for, at that point, 1,351 years. Imagine you find the Holy
Fucking beautiful.
Grail and you fucking fumble it.
The Holy Grail. Many countless people have died for this. Family lines deleted. Bro, how far do you think I could throw this?
How far?
Slam dunk.
Do you think I could put a Moscow Mule in it?
Touchdown! Yeah. Oh shit.
All right. All right. All right. I need to let my blood pressure lower. I'm done here. All right. We're done with this story. What do you want to talk about next? What's going to be the next podcast?
You're going to find something really stupid and ridiculous. Not quite.
Bro,
like
most
the
of
Rock
history
Destiny,
is
'cause nothing's
stupid
gonna
and
top that.
ridiculous. What do you mean? We could
Well, this-
absolutely find
well-
something like that. Have you ever paid attention to the wars in the Middle East? They've been fighting over dumb
Well-
shit the whole time.
Well, people fighting over land is just so fucking boring. But like people fighting over a rock, now that's beautiful. I need to learn about that.
They're literally doing that in the Middle East. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I don't want to bring that part up. The Great Wall of China is a good one. We should talk about the Great Wall of China. Are you prepared to talk about a bunch of slavery?
Oh, what the fuck? Did
Slavery in
they
the
erect that to
Mongols.
stop Genghis Khan from coming in?
Yeah,
Yeah, just to, like stop the Mongols.
yeah. And
That's
innumerable
my extent of
corpses are
apology
piled
regarding that.
underneath it.
Still,
Why Hannibal went over the Alps on elephants. That'd be a pretty good one, actually.
I have no idea what that's about.
I do. Yeah, that's actually
it's-
a good story.
If it's ridiculous and more about storytelling than just boring war, I'd be interested.
How about mythology? Do you want to explore mythology at all? I mean, we're kind of doing that with the cosmic stick and the fucking the Stone
I
of
love Norse.
Destiny.
Uh, Sumerian. I've always been interested in that. I know very little about it, but what I do know about it, I think is fucking insane. I think you could get some pretty cool shit out of that.
All right.
The Norse is absolutely insane. I know a good bit of that.
If we do Sumerian,
Aztec,
you've got to tell the story
Quetzalcoatl.
because I don't know that one.
I barely know anything about it. Mainly just names of gods and things they represent. Norse, though, I know a lot of stories from that. Sleipnir, Loki, etc.
All right, we'll check them out then. All right, for now though,
Okay.
we're about 20 seconds off, but we got an hour here, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Have a good night,
Working
guys. Hope you enjoyed. My brain hurts. I hope your brain doesn't hurt nearly as much.